How we doing, people? It's your boy Bry, and we're back at the house on vacation this week. And we had to repair a few things. We had a major storm come through here, and we had to cut our vacation into what I like to call a working vacation. As a homeowner, these are some of the things you need to consider. Is that you won't always be able to just say, I'm going to put my feet up on the love seat and I'm going to absolutely do nothing, and I'm going to take a vacation that says I'm going to be a lazy person. You can't do that. When you have a house and you have commitments and you have pieces of equipment, you have to think about things. And currently we're working on a well pump for a family member, and we're also working on getting our Generac, the 26 kW, ready. I went and got the permit for it. I've got a interface connection line coming. It should be here tomorrow. But what we're working on right now, people, is the AGT mini excavator. And let me take a look at the situation with your friend Bry. So as you can see, we have the front panel off. And you see the hydraulics and you see the wiring, so to speak. And what you don't see is a key switch, because I have it right here. The key switch went bad because it wasn't starting. I went down in here, and as you can see, I have a battery, and you say to yourself, well, that's a Chinese battery, my friend Bry. That's probably a bad battery after 2 years. Well, you would think that. You would absolutely think that, and you'd be right to go for that, because I actually pulled it out. But what I did is I bought this tool right here on a TikTok shop, and what it is it's a top down, right? And what it does is it tells you if the battery has enough, not only what is it putting out 12 volts, but what are the cold cranking amps actually sufficient, or is there a burnt cell in the battery? And what we can do is actually go through it here. Let's take a look at it. Hold on one second. I'm one-handed, so you're going to have to give me a second. We're going to pull the negative lead off. We're going to go ahead and put the positive lead on. Okay, we'll go ahead and put the negative lead on. And let's take a look at what it's got going on here. Okay, so it tells the battery test, it's 12.45 volts it's showing. But let's go ahead and we'll put, let's see, test, battery test, yes, we're going to say enter. Yes, regular flooded. Okay, what are the cold cranking amps? And we're going to go down. Whoops, back up. Yes, we want to do, okay, and it's 350. I looked over here, and it says 350 on the cold cranking amps. I've got it upside down, but you can see it there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit test. It's testing the battery. And look at that. It shows you have a good battery, so you're not just thinking you have a problem with the battery. It's putting out 271 cold cranking amps. It's 60% health. It's charged 75% of the way, and it's rated at 350. So at the end of the day, you say to yourself, that's a handy little tool, my friend Bry. What a lot of times I've went and bought batteries and then found out, hey, it isn't the battery, it's something else. It's a wire, it's a fuse, it's something else, like a key switch. Okay, and we'll go ahead and take this off. But just to show you, that's a handy little tool that you may want to get one of those, and it can prevent you from actually wasting money and buying something you don't need. Now, what I have here, this was a switch that turned on and off. And what that was is, let me show you around here. It literally had an on-off switch that ran the negative cable, right, from the battery up here, and it hooked to one side, and then this one hooked to the other side, and it came down like this, and it hooked over to where I've got it pointed here. And what I've done essentially is I've just avoided that entire switch and ran the negative cable right to the body of the engine and the pump where the other one was hooked to. So we don't have that on-off intermediate switch. And you say to yourself, well, why would you get rid of that, my friend Bry? Well, number one, it was no good. Number two, I really don't need that, because all that's for is for running your fan, your light, and, you know, so forth, and turning your starter on. So what I did was I said, I went out and ran the machine that wasn't putting out no fan for the hydraulics, which is, I'll show you, it's right over here. This fan right here wasn't running, which cools your hydraulics down. And so I said, well, why ain't that working? The light's not working. What's the deal? So that's why I got into this job, and I said, let me go ahead and see if I can't diagnose it. So what I did was I found out that that was preventing the ground from going because the switch must have been bad. And that's the one thing that on these little machines like this, you can't expect to have a high quality Honeywell switch or something like that on these. They're going to put a cheap switch in them. And as you can see, you know, some of the wiring even on here, like look at this little ground wire. Look how tiny that ground wire is. So, you know, your friend Bri may have to, I got to wire this up in these fuses. I checked them and I had one of them blown. So I'm going to have to actually do something here and maybe zip tie those. But as you can see now, it's right direct. And that's the fan. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, and of course the only situation with that, now let's turn on the light. This is the light right here. Okay, so we can see clearly that it's not a battery issue, it was a switch issue. And this was my key switch, which of course very, how do I put this, kind of cheap, you know, but it lasted 2 years. I'm not going to cry about it, you know. I can just easily put a switch in it. Now, you say to yourself, oh man, I mean, that could have really cost you some money, my friend Bri, if you didn't know, you know, how to diagnose things. And what I've got to say about that is this. If you're going to own one of these, if you're going to own a machine like this, you have to have some sense about you of what the situation is. You can't sit there and say, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't hire it done every time. If you're not a handy person, if you don't know how to have patience and diagnose things, then don't get one of these. You're not going to sit there and act like this is going to be something that you can take to the Kubota shop and, get bent over the counter and spanked to death, you know, with your wallet hanging out and your bank card getting swiped. That's not going to happen here. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I'm from the School of Hard Knocks, as my page suggests. So, you know, your boy Bri is kind of a hard-headed person. He likes to stick with it, and he doesn't give in. He doesn't like to hire it done. He doesn't like to hire it done because he's the type of person that says, I'm going to struggle until I figure it out myself. That way, I've not only figured it out, I've actually added some knowledge to my, shed of many colors mentally, if that makes any sense. But the other thing is I want to show you over here. Let's take a look. That's the panel. The panel is easy enough to pull off. It's just a couple screws, okay? But as you can see, I figured this out. The one that's bent is the shutoff, right? And you touch it to this white one here. There's some kind of a card or something there. I don't know what that is. But if you want to start it, right? We can go ahead and do that. And as you can see, it's running. So it's not an issue with the starter. And if you want to shut it off, so as you can see, I just need a simple key switch. I will go over to Tractor Supply, or I will go somewhere and I will get a key switch at the likes of probably 10 or 20 bucks, and we'll put it in here and we'll be back in action with a key switch. The battery's fine. The only other thing that I noticed is as I was working with this lately, I had a little bit of play in it, and they say, hey, check your motor out. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see this. You see that? Let me zoom in for you so you can see what I'm talking about. And this is a rotation part that turns the turret around on the machine. So what I've got to do is go down there and I've got to tighten those up and get them snugged up. I'll probably put a little Loctite on there. One of my friends suggested I throw a little Loctite if I'm going to do it. And he's right. I better, do something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and Loctite these bolts down here. We're going to snug them up. And you know what? I don't even care. If they loosen up every so often, I'll go ahead and just pull the cover off and tighten them down. It's not a bad idea. And as you can see, we got a couple wear points here where things are laying on top of it. I need to make sure maybe I put a piece of rubber around this so it don't rub on top of there. Or we can go like that with it, I guess. But yeah, that's the scenario. I've got the battery locked back down. There's a nice, it's actually a piece of steel that holds it down. Let me back you back out. There's a piece of steel, and Again, everything's working. The lights, I need to get a key switch. Now, the good thing about this machine right here is it does have, the LH12 has a pull cord. So you can pull it right here. This one here, you can pull start this engine. It's that simple. And as you can see, it's a very nice running machine. I mean, it owes me nothing. I've got approximately, I would have to guess, $6,000 to $8,000 worth of work that I've done with this so far on my property. And as you know, with all the buckets and attachments, I got about $6,000 in this machine. So honestly, it owes me nothing. After 2 years, that's the worst thing about it, is I have a couple switches that went. I mean, as you can see, the hydraulic plenum and all this right up here, this is all still in good shape. The situation is saying to us, if you want one of these machines, just have a little bit of horse sense about you and have a situation about yourself that says, I'm willing to try to at least dive into a switch. I mean, that's the minimal thing you need to be able to have to do, is work on a little bit of common wiring. This is not even hard to deal with, people. But she's a good machine. She's a strong machine. She's a machine that's made out of metal, and she's my machine. This is your friend Bry giving you the update on the AGT. Very still impressed with it, very still happy with it, and we're saying to ourselves, we've got a lot of things to get her done and get her done right with. So we're going to get on down the road, but we're going to get a switch. We're going over to Tractor Supply. We're going to try to source one of those for the key switch, and we're going to go ahead and zip tie that wiring up. But in the meantime, she's quite a machine. This is your friend Bry. I've got to get on down.